But the December 20th ruling on reconsideration, where the district court adopts recommendations, or maybe the December 2nd report, where the district adopts reports and recommendations about process, so it's the December 2nd opinion, has appended to it suggestions that were made by the special master on October 28th. They were sent to all the parties on October 28th, and we know that apart from everything else because they were appended to the submission made by the Mendoza plaintiffs on October 29th. So the court certainly had all of these documents well before it ruled. I see it's time for me to sum up, and again, what I want to stress is that there is a record process going forward. I think it's also inaccurate for anyone to believe that when we get to the point of a ruling on unitary status, that the school district is going to have to refer only to documents in the record in making its case for unitary status. What I fully anticipate will happen is that it will present the plans it has developed. It will put in declarations explaining how it developed them. Most importantly, and we're not there yet, and this is what the court really cares about, it will show that it has implemented those plans, and it will show what the results are of those plans. That's what the court cares about.
So when do you think this is all going to end?
The unitary status plan says that the district cannot apply for unitary status until the end of 16-17 school year. The process has gone, for whatever reason, more slowly than had been anticipated. But one would hope that within a year or two after that, it will end.
A year or two after what?
16-17. So this is a hefty plan.
Yeah.
It is calling on the district to do quite a lot.
But it really looks like it's behind schedule. Is that fair?
It is behind schedule. Yes.
And I also would like some idea so I can understand this. The plan itself won't be ready till the end of the 16?
Oh, no. No, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I believed Judge Thomas was asking when we all could believe the case was over and the school district would be declared unitary. And it won't happen in 16-17, I don't believe, but it should happen, we hope, a year or two after that. The process to finalize the plans that implement this plan is really at its very end. And that's, again, part of the irony of this, because the stipulation that the parties entered into to govern the process while the appeal was going forward is, in fact, in place, is, in fact, being followed. And unless this court surprises me and renders a decision on the merits and does it quickly, I would venture to say all the plans and processes that are covered by the unitary status plan and by the stipulation will actually be in place, and to some extent it will render much of this appeal moot.
Now, before you rush off, when will the district start implementing the plan?
Oh, the district has started implementing significant parts of the plan. The plan is multi-headed, and there's no question but it has started implementing some of them. It has already been reporting on some of them.
And when will it be fully implemented?
Pieces of it are going at different rates, but virtually all of it should be implemented, I would think, within the next couple of months.
Maybe you're the wrong one to ask, but is the district objecting basically to any of the implementation thus far?
There are real disputes between the parties about the vigor of the goals that it is setting for itself. There are many fewer disagreements between the parties about the actions that it's undertaking to move forward. I think that's the best way that I can answer it.
I don't understand what it means, the goals they're setting.
One of the things that we're asking for is that, let me give you one example. The district has a number of racially concentrated schools, including a number of racially concentrated magnet schools. We are looking for significant improvement in the racial composition and ethnic composition of those schools. What the district feels it can do and what we think it should do is an area of disagreement. What we don't disagree on very greatly is the process that should be in place to reinvigorate the magnet schools and to hold them accountable. The district has goals set for increasing the graduation rate of its Latino and African American students. We say those goals should be higher. We have debates with the district about what particular plans should be in place to achieve that. But I think it is fair to say, Judge Reinhardt, that the district has plans in place, and we're keeping our fingers crossed in terms of how successful its implementation will be. And I can only stress once again that what the district court judge has been emphatic about is that what he's looking for is assessment by the district of the policies and plans it has in place to see if they're working, and then revising those plans if necessary to get them to work for better. And none of that is what we're fighting about here today.
And so you're in an experimental period with some plans being implemented, and the judge wants to see whether they are accomplishing the goals?
I wouldn't call it an experimental phase. I would say that what has happened because of the breadth of the plan is that sub-pieces of the plan have been phased in so that we are more likely to see results on some of those phases more quickly than others.
And is there some time that you would anticipate this comes to a head where the district court adopts or approves the final plan?
Well, the district court has approved the plan. It is the unitary status plan. The district court does not have to take any action with respect to the implementing plans unless there is a disagreement with respect to them that the special master can't resolve. And then we get into the process that we've been talking about here this morning. But the district, if all went well, the district's court job would be essentially finished between the time that it approved the unitary status plan in February 2013 and when it next heard from the school district saying that it would like to be declared unitary or to be relieved of one of the green factors. What has happened here is that there has been court involvement because there has been dispute with respect to some, but I stress some, not all, of the implementing plans. And given the large number of implementing plans that this unitary status plan called for, actually very few. The three in the record are the discipline plan, where the special master basically said that he didn't agree with the plaintiff's objection. The admissions process for University High School, which we've talked about, and one relating to the director for culturally responsive pedagogy, where ultimately the school district and the special master resolved the issue, and the objections that had been made by my clients essentially were rejected. And that's essentially all that the court has ruled on.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you very much for your time, Your Honors.
Thank you. A couple of points I would like to respond to. One of them is the difference between the pre and post objection process in terms of the R&R. The pre-R&R briefing process involves policy suggestions, tweaking plans, and things of that nature. The post-R&R process is designed to be legal arguments and whether or not what is ultimately proposed complies with the USP and the Constitution. The special master under the system that is in place now is supposed to submit the information submitted by the parties with its R&R, but there is no legal briefing with that. Number two, it doesn't contain the information of communication between the parties because, and I'm quoting from an order, the court reaffirms its general preclusion of collaborative emails and red line draft versions. And it also provides...
Well, it's hard to argue with that unless it's on a particular purpose. I mean, I think you probably can say, I don't think there's anything prohibiting you from making a legal argument and saying the R&R is factually wrong and here's the declarations that show it, is there? You could do that.
Well, except that it also, it precludes us from filing things not covered by the R&R. And so if there are things that we didn't already submit because there's something new in the R&R, then we're handcuffed. And that's a big problem.
Well, no,
because,
I mean, just procedurally, then can't you just ask for leave to file it? And if it's it's not, if the court denies that, then that's an appealable issue at some point? I mean, it seems to me there are avenues for you to make the record. You may not like the results of the district court denying you, but...
Well, the problem is we've been turned away, and the problem is we need a record, and we need a real-time record. This notion that 5 years from now we'll submit all the stuff that we weren't allowed to submit and that's going to work is fanciful. But I'll give you another specific example. Well, there's a couple, but Judge Reinhart referred to the Department of Justice pointing out that the special master had filed something, left out 400 or 500 pages of the record that the district had put in. I mean, that's going to be problematic down the road. Another one is, and this is really a good example of it, in the University High admissions policy, R&R, the special master makes a statement that basically all of the experts disagree with TUSD or they're all in his favor. Not true, but we really can't address that because it wasn't brought up before then, so now we can't address something that we didn't address before. So it's this circle, and do we have to keep going back to the court, or should the court have not changed the plan everybody adopted and he signed off on before, get us together and get something that works, but don't put together this plan that doesn't. And the other issue I'd like to point out on the expert part, where basically in the University High situation, TUSD proposed using a test. The special master in his R&R does not say that the test proposed by TUSD is not compliant with the USP or the Constitution. He says, I like the idea of short essays. I think that would be the best practice. In fairness,
he said that was best practices, right?
Yeah, he said that's best practice. Best practice is not the standard for the Constitution or the USP. Now
you seem to be arguing a particular dispute as opposed to the procedure. That's what I was trying to get at earlier. Why is the procedure inadequate for you to lodge your objections to that ruling, if you will?
Well, because if we don't see it until we see the R&R, and we have a truncated time to respond, we have a truncated number of pages to respond, and we have restrictions on